Welcome to the Talk of the Tape for this Friday. I'm Aaron Task here at the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, joined by Ted Weisberg. He is trader for Seaport Securities. Teddy, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So we had a pretty nasty sell-off yesterday. The markets are bouncing back here. Is buying the dips, is that still the right strategy?
Well, I think I guess the obvious answer is yes. Don't break it. You know, if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. And if that still works, I would keep doing it. On the other hand, we're obviously exiting the earnings period. Right. The focus is going to shift pretty quick to the economy and to the Fed, and that probably is not going to be the same impetus for a strong market than we've seen for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
We had the Fed meeting this week. They did nothing, and people seemed okay with that. On Wednesday, then yesterday, we got the week same-store sales data. Today, retail sales not so good as well, and now people are worried, is the soft landing going to be too soft? Is that what people are seeing down here?
Well, I think it changes every day, and that's the problem. And the Fed, the bottom line is the Fed appears to be in a bit of a box, because on the one hand, clearly they're concerned about inflation, and if they had to do something about that, obviously that means interest rates go up. On the other hand, all the evidence we see indicates that the market or the economy is slowing.
Right, the consumer's hurting.
Yeah, the consumer's hurting. $3 plus gas at the pump. I mean, there's not a lot of positive things going on out there. You know, the only bright spot seems to be offshore, emerging markets. That's where the growth is, and I think we saw that in the earnings period because most of the companies that blew the numbers away were these big cap multinational companies, and the reason is they can take advantage of the weak dollar at the same time taking advantage of growth overseas. I mean, some of these companies are getting almost 50% of their revenue and profits from offshore.
Right, we were talking before we came on camera about that. That's a Whirlpool and a Caterpillar. Honeywell's up again today. Do you think that that is the trade you want to stay with as for an investor, to keep with those kind of companies here?
Well, the short answer is absolutely yes. Okay. I mean, people have been talking about the big caps for about 6 or 7 months now. You know, nobody really buys into the new scenarios. The thought of buying GE puts people to sleep. How can I buy that stock?
It's done nothing for 5 years.
It's done nothing for 5 years, and by the way, it's a stock that I own, so I guess I need to tell you that. But the fact is, I think you're going to get a disconnect between the small caps and a lot of the market, and a narrower breadth focused on these large cap multinational companies. So it is possible that the Dow could remain strong because it's these large cap companies that populate the averages, the Dow 30 and most of the S&P 500, and yet the balance of the market could end up trading sideways, in fact even trading lower, and yet the market's going to look a lot better than it is because the breadth will narrow, because it'll be focused on these big multinational companies that can get their earnings offshore and will be less affected by a weakening U.S. economy.
Right, and I think that kind of environment will be frustrating for a lot of traders, but the headlines will say, you know, the Dow's at an all-time high, maybe the S&P it's an all-time high. So in some ways it might look a little bit like 1999, not the same kind of froth, I don't think you're describing, but again, where it's the market is concentrated in a few mega cap stocks.
Well, yeah, and I think, and not only is that, I think, in the process of happening, but I think it could go on for a long, long time. This is not a trend that's going to reverse itself soon, because the dollar's not getting strong probably anytime soon, and there still appears to be a lot more growth offshore than there is onshore.
All right, Teddy, thanks very much.
My pleasure.
My guest has been Ted Weisberg, President and Trader at Seaport Securities. I'm Aaron Task. That's your Talk of the Tape. Stay tuned for more of TheStreet.com TV.